Okay, we're subtracting fractions today. And it's similar to what we have been doing, but just like in subtracting whole numbers, you have to borrow. So we'll have to pay close attention when we get to the borrowing part. So I know there's a bunch of boxes right here on number 3. I'm not worried about the boxes yet. I'm just worried about this first problem. So this is the part that I want you to write on your scrap paper. 7 2/3 minus 3 5/6. And I got it right here, the very first thing. That's what I want you to write first. Come on, you should already have that written. Come on, write that. Come over to this side and draw new fraction lines. Get your pencil in 6 because that's the bigger denominator. And we're going to ask ourselves, is 3 times anything going to get me that 6? Yes, so let's use it. No reason to go bigger. So on the top, Miss Lainey, how do you go from 3 to 6, sister? Times 2. So Lainey, what would 2 times 2 get you? 4.
Good morning. Let's all stand, face the flag, and place our hands over our hearts for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is now time for the moment of silence. You may choose to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in any other silent activity that does not interfere with others. The moment of silence shall begin now. In the cafeteria today, we will be having biscuits and gravy, scrambled eggs, sausage patty, diced potatoes, fruit, and milk. Student council will meet today after school until 3:45. Drama club will meet Monday, February 8th after school until 3:45. A junior high golf meeting for 7th and 8th graders will be taking place today after school until 4 p.m. in Coach Tarp's room. Students, you still have time to pre-order a yearbook for $27. Orders are due February 12th. You can order online or pick up a new order form in the library. Order your CMS yearbook before it's too late. Have a tiger day.
Okay, so the first thing that we just did was we changed, just watch for a minute, we changed 2/3 to 4/6. Are y'all tracking with me? So that's your very first box right there, is 4/6. Okay, now we're on the bottom. How do we go from 6 to 6? What do we multiply by? Times 1. So what would 5 times 1 get me? 5. That's your bottom box. Now get rid of this junk in the inside. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Okay, so I need every eye up here. Here's where it gets tricky. I don't care about all that right now. Here, we'll do this later. Lay the paper clip right there. Lay the paper clip right there. We'll do all that later. You should already be writing out the problem, okay? We'll deal with all that later. Okay, is everybody watching? If I got 4/6, and remember we only subtract the tops, we don't do anything to the bottom. And think about this, it's gonna make perfect sense to you. If I got 4 cookies, can you come take 5 cookies away from me? No, because I only got 4, don't I? So you can't come take 5. So just like in a real whole number thing, when you go borrow, you're gonna have to go borrow. So mark this 7 out. He's not 7 anymore, he's 6. Now, here's where it gets tricky, but I know you'll catch on. I just borrowed 1 from him, and he's floating through the air, and he needs to land right here beside this 4/6, but it's not gonna look like this. Instead, it needs to look like a fraction. So let's go back and let's remember. 1 whole on a fraction means the top number is what? No. The top. No. Stop. Quit guessing if you don't know. The top number is the same as the bottom number. Remember when I was up here on a number line and I said that was 0 and that was 1 whole? Do you remember that? And what was always 1 whole? Same number on top, same number on bottom. Remember that? So let's say I was on 12ths. What would that be? 12 12ths. Let's say I'm on tenths. What would that be? 10 tenths. Let's say I'm on sixths. then what would that one whole need to look like?
6,
6. So watch what I'm gonna do. Let's go back and let me refresh your memory. I can't say 4 minus 5. Does everybody understand that? So I borrowed. My 7 became a 6. The one that I borrowed has to look like 6, 6. So write it right there beside your 4, 6. Now, I already had that 4, 6, so I'm going to have to put a little plus sign right there, and I'm going to have to join this together real quick. And I like to circle it. So if I got 4, 6, and I just borrowed 6, 6, what have I got now? 10, 6. So that goes up here on top. And mark this circle out now. Okay, now I can subtract. So I got 10, 6, look, 10, 6 minus 5, 6. I would only subtract the tops and I would leave the bottoms alone. So what's 10 minus 5 going to get me? 5, 6. And now come over here and don't forget your whole numbers. 6 minus 3 would get you 3. Now we got some holes we got to fill in over here. So what did I change 7 2/3 to? I changed it to 6 and 10, 6. So that goes here. And on the bottom, I did have 3 and 5, 6. What did I end up with? 3 and 5, 6. Nothing changed there. And my final answer was actually 3 and 5, 6. That's interesting. Okay, it's not always going to be that way. Okay, we got lucky. Okay, number 4. I'm not worried about the boxes. I'm only worried about this whole number. And I don't like how they wrote it. Hey, stop for a minute. Stop and look for a minute. I don't like how they wrote it at all. Because look, that 5 is a whole number. It's over the fraction. It shouldn't be. The 5 should be over the 2 since that's whole number. So watch how I write it. The 5 is going to be over the 2. And the 3/4 is going to be over here. So write yours just like mine. Write yours just like mine. And then I's right up here. Okay. See this hole up here? It means I got nothing. It's empty. It's like my cabinet at home when my kids eat all my chips. Okay? Y'all do it too to your parents, don't you? You eat all the chips. And then I go get some chips and there's no chips. That's like my cabinet at home. So if my cabinet at home is empty, can you come get 3/4 out of my cabinet? It's empty. So the only thing I can do is go to my neighbor and borrow. So that 5 becomes a 4. And I just borrowed one whole, but I'm not on 6th anymore. What am I on now? 4th. So what would the 1 look like right here? 4/4. Good. You're catching on. So on our boxes, our 5 just became 4 and 4/4. Now I can subtract. And remember, we're only subtracting the tops and we leave the bottoms alone. So what would 4 minus 3 get me?
1.
Over what?
4.
4. And don't forget your whole numbers. 4 minus 2 would give me 2. There's your answer, 2 and a 4. Shake your head if this is kind of making sense. It's just the borrowing. And the borrowing has to look like a fraction. Okay, let's keep going. Number 5. 6 3/10 minus 1 4/5. And those have different denominators, so that won't work. Get your pencil in 10, because that's the biggest denominator. Is 5 times anything going to get me that 10?
Yes.
Yes, so let's use it. So on the top, Eric, how did I go from 10 to 10? What did I multiply by?
Times
1. So what would 3 times 1 get me, Eric?
3.
3. And there's no boxes to fill in on 5, so we're just going to keep going. On the bottom, Kiara, how do I go from 5 to 10? 2. So what's 4 times 2, Kiara?
8.
8. Now mark out this inside junk. We got problems, don't we? If I have 3/10, can you come take 8/10 from me?
No.
Do you know what some of y'all will do? Hey, let me stop you real quick. Some of y'all will say 3 minus 8 is 5. How would I get 5 right there? How would 5 be a real answer right there? How?
The top would be 8 and the bottom.
These would have to be swapped, wouldn't they? Is 8 minus 3 5?
Yeah.
You bet. But 3 minus 8 is not 5. If I got 3 cookies, can you come get 8 from me? Absolutely no. I only have 3. I can't give you 8. So I have to borrow. So that 6 becomes a 5. And that 1 that I just borrowed has to land right here, but it has to look like a fraction. And I'm not on fourths this time. What am I on this time?
10.
So what is that 1 going to look like? 10 tenths. Now real quick, put a little plus sign right there and circle it, because I got to combine these real quick. What would 3 tenths and 10 tenths get me, class? 13 tenths. Now get rid of this. He doesn't work anymore. He's got a new name. So now, 13 tenths minus 8 tenths. It would be 13 minus 8. Slap your leg on 8 and count up to 13. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. What'd you get? 5 what? Tenths. We're not done yet. And now we're going to have to subtract the whole numbers. 5 minus 1 would get me 4. Now we're still not done. And I'll tell you why. Because 5 can go into both of those. How many times can 5 go into 5? 1. How many times can 5 go into 10? 2. That's your answer. And I could tell y'all knew it. So your answer is 4.5. Good. Y'all were like dying, weren't you? You were like, that can't be the final answer. We have to reduce it. Okay, Lainey, pick a number. 6 all the way, or did we just do 6? What did we just do? We did 5. Okay, pick a number. 6 all the way to, what's the last number? 18? 7. Okay, I don't care about the boxes yet. I just care about these first numbers. 8 1/4 minus 2 7/8. And I got new fraction lines because these have different denominators. Get your pencil and 8 because that's the bigger denominator. So Bentley, is 4 times anything going to give me that 8?
Yeah.
Yes. Bentley sounds like Hayden. Bentley, how do I go from 4 to 8? Times 2. So Bentley, what would 1 times 2 get me? 2. Colin, how do I go from 8 to 8?
Times 1.
So what's 7 times 1 going to get me, Colin? 7. Now, let's fill in some boxes. Actually, put this X in the middle because we don't need him anymore. What did we just change 8 1/4 to be? 8 and what? 2 8. So that goes there. And what did we change 2 7/8 to be? 2 7/8. We actually didn't change them, did we? Yep. Okay, now, here we go, ready to subtract. If I got 2 cookies, can you come get 7 from me?
No.
I only have 2, don't I? So can I go next door to my neighbor? Does my neighbor have some cookies? Yeah, so he's not 8 anymore. Who's my neighbor now? He's 7. And that 1 that I borrowed is going to have to land right here. But I'm not on tenths this time. What am I on this time? 8. So what's this going to look like? 8 eighths. And put a little plus sign in the middle. And let's circle that. So Hayden, what would 2 eighths and 8 eighths get me? 10 eighths. Now I'm marking that circle out. He's got a new name. Now, if I got 10 eighths, can you come take 7 eighths from me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we're only subtracting the top. So what would 10 minus 7 be? 3 what?
8.
Eighths. And what would 7 minus 2 get me?
5.
5. Now we got to fill in some blanks. Okay, this is kind of messy, so I hope you can see it. I was 8 1/4. Then I became 8 2 eighths. Then I became 7 and 10 eighths. So 10 goes there. I was 2 7/8. Who did I become last? 2 7/8. Nothing changed. So my final answer is 5 3/8.
So this won't happen the only time that the same number from the last
Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. It depends on what denominator you use, okay? Okay, Jake Lee, pick a number, 6 all the way to 18.
13.
13, okay. 8 and 3/16 minus 3 and 5/8. I got this right off 13 on your paper. It's on your paper. Get your pencil in 16. That's your bigger denominator. Class, is 8 times something going to give me that 16?
Yeah.
Yes, so I'm going to use it. So on the top, Cooper, how do I go from 16 to 16?
1.
So 3 times 1 is going to get me
3.
3. On the bottom, Eric, how do I go from 8 to 16?
Times 2.
Times 2. So what's 5 times 2 going to get me, Eric? Huh?
10.
10. Now get rid of this junky inside. Now let's think real quick. Hey, you're not going to have to borrow every time, but sometimes you do. It's just like in a regular number. You don't have to borrow every time. Sometimes you do though. So is 3, can I do 3 minus 10? No. I'm going to have to borrow this time. 8 is going to become 7. And Corey, what's my 1 going to be over here? What? Speak up.
1 and 16.
Not 1 and 16. That doesn't make a 1 whole. You got to have the same number on top as the same number on bottom. Xander, what would my 1 whole be right here? 16 16ths. It's going to be the same on top as the same on bottom. And look, now I'm going to circle that because I already had 3 16ths. Can't forget that. So real quick, if I added those tops, what's 16 plus 3 more going to get me? 19 what? 16ths. Good. 19 16ths. Now get rid of that. Now I got 19 cookies. Now you can come take 10 from me. So if you can't do that in your head, that's perfectly fine. Come out to the side on your scrap paper just like that. Laney, what's 19 minus 10 going to get me? 9 what? 16ths. And what's 7 minus 3 going to get me, class?
4.
4. There's your answer. 4 and 9/16. Okay. So, I want you to turn the page real quick. And I want you to, that was number 13. And I want you to go all the way to the bottom. All the way to the bottom. What? What'd you say?
I said we mark everything out.
Did I say mark everything out?
No.
Then don't ask that. I want you to go all the way to the bottom. We're on 23 and 24. I want you to circle 23 and 24 because that's all I'm asking you to do on the back. You don't have to mark anything out. I just want you to circle those two. Now here's what it says to do. Choose the correct number from the box to complete the subtraction sentence that follows. So the first thing you're going to do, the very first number is 1. Put it there in that box. But we got to see if this works. So on your scrap paper, write 3 and 5/8 minus 1 and 1/4. And if we don't come up with this answer, 2 and 3/8, then we're going to have to erase that 1 and we're going to have to put a 2 in it. Are you tracking with me?
Yeah.
Ooh, let's hope it's on the very first try. Here we go.
If it is, we'll come lucky.
If we do, we're lucky, aren't we?
We'll
Get your pencil on 8, because it's the biggest denominator. Is 4 times anything going to get me that 8?
Yeah.
Yes, use it then. Bentley on the top, how do we go from 8 to 8? Times 1. Then what's 5 times 1, Bentley? 5. On the bottom, Caden, how do we go from 4 to 8?
Times 2.
What's 1 times 2, Caden? 2. Get rid of this inside. Now here's a perfect example of what I was talking about a while ago. You don't always have to borrow. If I have 5 cookies, can you come take 2 from me?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's 5/8 minus 2/8?
3.
And what's 3 minus 1?
2.
No way.
We can't.
How did we get that lucky? Oh, we did get lucky. Okay. I have feeling you're not gonna get that lucky on the next time.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to try 2 in that box, 4, 5, 10, or 15 until you get the final answer, okay? So you've gotta do the front and those 2, go. And if you haven't finished practice buddies, that's going in as a 0 today. You got to finish it. That was due today.